Okay. Hi, Vajanti. Welcome back. Are you able to hear me? Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Hi, Vajanti. Are you able to hear me? Okay,
Yes.
that's great. So, that is the way in which we enter our data manually, like a proper data entry kind of operator kind of a stuff. Okay. So what we do is now we shall do a small shortcut, a cheat code, I would say. I'll just go to rand between function, which I taught you before. And in this rand between, I will say, okay, give me anything between 10 and 20. Okay, inclusive of this. And let's press Control Enter. The moment I press Control Enter, I get all the cells randomly. There is a number generated for all of them. Okay. Similarly, I will go to this set of things. Now here, because the marks are of different criteria of 100 level. So here I will say rand between. Again, here I will give bottom would be say 50 and somewhere between 1500. Anything between 1500 will do. And I press Control Enter. Again, I got all the marks collated over here. So once I'm done with this, what I can do is if I need to make this data look static, otherwise it will keep on changing and it will mess up with my report card because this rand between, no matter whatever I do, if I press enter over here anywhere or if I press F9, it will randomly change the numbers. So what I can do the best is I can just try to make it more and look like static instead of making it uh, looking dynamic. So I just select this.
So this F9 function which is there, it is to refresh only the
Yes.
random or anything that any
No,
formula that you
any
have
formula,
to.
any formula will get refreshed. Okay.
Okay.
So क्या होता है कि sometimes I've seen some complex models where there's a lot of calculation happening. Okay, what they do is they say that okay, whenever I'm opening a file, it's an event. Open is also an event, right? Okay, so what happens is when you open a file, the file will by default run some calculations to make sure that it's showing you updated data correctly. So when you open a file, it will start freezing. Okay, because it's performing that calculation simultaneously or across the cell, across the sheet. So कई लोगों को बहुत तकलीफ होता है उससे. So what they do is they go to this calculation mode. Do you see this automatic being selected right now? Vajanti, are you able to see my
Yes, sir.
screen?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
see.
In the calculation mode, in the calculation option, you can see the automatic and then there is a manual option. Okay. By default, all the complex file, anything which is a complex file, okay, which has got very heavy formulas, they prefer to keep it manual because they don't want to keep this file freezing. They they keep it manual, and when they enter the data, when everything is entered correctly, then they just press F9 to make it go into a calculation mode. It will go into calculation mode, perform calculation once, update the values, and go back to the manual mode again. Got it?
What happens if it is in automatic mode?
So automatic mode में क्या होगा कि every time I press F9 या कोई भी इवेंट में करेगा या फिर इसको सेव करूंगा या ओपन करूंगा या कुछ भी करूंगा with the workbook. Every time any event occurs, the workbook will start calculating all the values. But because our values are very less right now in number, आप देखेंगे हमारे पास कितना मुश्किल से यहाँ पे there are 30 data points where we have put formulas. But in a normal complex model, there can be around 5,000, 10,000 data points where formula has been planted. Imagine those 10,000 points uh, trying to calculate the formula at the same time, and then the worksheet goes for a toss. It starts freezing if you keep it in the uh, automatic mode. So only with heavy files where there is a lot of formula involved, people try to keep it in the manual mode so that uska maintenance थोड़ा easy हो जाएगा. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Sure. So what I'm trying to do is now, see, my funda is that instead of using the manual mode, if you want to preserve your formula, okay, so preserve it on the first row. क्योंकि फर्स्ट रो में आपकी जितने भी कॉलम्स हैं, अलग अलग कॉलम्स जहाँ पे फॉर्मूलाज अलग अलग किस्म के आ सकते हैं, you can try to preserve it over there, and then the rest of the this thing you can make it value based, so that अगर आपको फॉर्मूला वापस लगाना पड़े किधर भी, you can just select the first row, drag down, and all the formulas will get populated again.
Yes, that is the normal way one does, right? So
Yes, that's a normal thumb
first
rule
cell use,
which
yeah.
people do it. But I'm just talking about those people who work on complex data models.
Okay,
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 उन लोग के लिए वो मैनुअल ऑप्शन बहुत इजी पड़ जाता है.
okay.
राइट, पर उसका एक कुछ तो उसके देयर आर सम pros and cons of the manual also, which I will cover maybe on later day. But right now, let's try to focus. Let's try to make it uh, quick for you to understand these basics. So I will just go to copy, and here I will say value paste. So the moment I've done the value paste, it does a calculation again and then makes a static value. It will not change now. If I press F9, कुछ भी नहीं होगा because वो formula सब निकल गया अभी. Okay, so this is our mark sheet. Now I entered a auto sum formula over here. Maybe I can also go here and I can press auto sum, yeah, alt equal to, and again I will get the same range getting picked up as a sum. Okay, but instead of doing this, what I will do is I will leverage on what I have done earlier for this particular row. I'll probably take this and now I won't drag it down. ओके, एक ऑप्शन है मेरे पास कि मैं इसको ड्रैग करूं नीचे तो फॉर्मूलाज भी नीचे कॉपी हो जाएंगे. बट एक और तरीका है कि आपकी अगर लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में कुछ कॉलम्स हैं जो पॉपुलेटेड है विद सम रोज, यू कैन जस्ट गो इनटू दिस कॉर्नर ऑफ द सेल, यू कैन डबल क्लिक हियर. तो क्या करता है वो ऑटोमेटिकली जो आपके एडजेसेंट कॉलम में जितनी भी रोज पॉपुलेटेड हैं उतने रोज तक वो ऑटोमेटिकली फॉर्मूला को ड्रैग कर देगा. You don't need to drag it also. It's just like a autofill kind of a option which just understands on its own कि okay, बाजू के cell में there are 5 rows which are populated with some data. I need to take this formula and drag it to the next 5 rows. बस अपने आप वो drag करके वो नीचे तक लेके आ जाएगा. You don't need to do anything about this. I
Sir,
hope
but
you got the trick.
left hand side, no, left hand side, that 70, 71, all these rows have certain formula, and that is what it understands that it has to copy on the right hand side, right? Not
Not the
360.
formula, it's a value कि रोज कहाँ तक पॉपुलेटेड है बाजू का. अगर ये रोज
Correct.
समझ लो यहाँ पे 79 भी है, यहाँ पे 80
हाँ,
भी है. ओके, दीज आर ओनली टिल 7 बट दिस इज टिल 9. तो क्या करेगा वो फॉर्मूला ड्रैग करके 9 तक लेके जाएगा. देखिए,
correct.
करेक्ट. सो इट लुक्स एट द इमीडिएट एडजेसेंट कॉलम. कितने रोज हैं, अगर इसके रोज मैंने कम कर दिए, okay, say I reduce this number of rows and now I am trying to plant this formula over here. तो क्या होगा उससे 3 सेल तक ही. ओके सॉरी, आई थिंक ये पूरा वहां तक गया because it looks at the adjacent cells, not only this one but also the adjacent ones.
What did you
So
press on the keyboard, sir?
no, not on the keyboard, you just need to go to the mouse. ये ब्लैक कलर का दिख रहा था जो ड्रैग वाला था,
हाँ, हाँ.
इसके ऊपर सिर्फ डबल क्लिक कर दो.
So double click करो.
या
But this will only take the sum formula. It will, or it will take any formula that
any
is
any
placed
any
on
formula, any
any
formula,
formula. Okay.
कोई भी
Okay.
फॉर्मूला देगा. ओके, तो यहाँ तक मैंने अब ये बेसिक डेटा यहाँ पे क्रिएट किया है, राइट. सो दीज आर माय टोटल्स व्हिच आर happening from all these quiz and tests for each of the students, correct.
Correct.
Now I just need to get a grade percentage. Now here is where some new concept will get covered which we didn't get time initially to cover it in detail, but here you will come to know the 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 reason for absolute and relative cell reference. Okay, so here
Hmm.
tell me one thing now. The grade and the first thing is not going to be anything. Here is where the grade will come. What will be the grade for Harneet, the first student? What should be the formula planted over here? Can you help me with this?
Is equal to 3 H3 divided by
H3 divided by
H2 percentage.
H2 परसेंटेज तो अपने आप आ जाएगा, उसका तो कुछ नहीं है. अगर मैं इसको करूं तो ये 0.82 आ गया, राइट. We'll
हाँ.
take care of formatting, nothing. If I drag this formula down, what do you think?
The control, you will have to put a controls dollar sign
Exactly. अब वो डॉलर साइन कहाँ पे आएगा?
before H3.
Okay, just a moment. Give me one moment. Yeah, I'm sorry, Vijanti. Yeah. So, yes, my question originally was, if I drag the formula down, will it give me a correct result for the
No,
subsequent
unless
students?
you put a dollar, it will not.
Ah, you knew it. तो इसलिए, alright, अगर हम लोग डॉलर नहीं डालेंगे तो that will be a big blunder, right?
It will take a cell above.
Correct. वो above का मतलब वो क्या करेगा, वो drag करेगा. Let's do that blunder and let's see what happens over here. 82% is correct. But the moment I press Control D, now I'm pressing Control D is another way in which you can uh, copy whatever is on the upper cell. That same thing will go down. Even if it's a formula, तो same formula नीचे आएगा. अगर
Oh,
कुछ text value है, static value, वो text value भी नीचे ही आएगी.
it's like
Okay,
duplicating.
duplicating. तो यहाँ पे जैसे मैंने किया तो इसको 94% आया, जबकि इसको 281 आया out of 360, and I got 296 out of 360, but I got 82%, पर इसको 94% आ रहा है, because इसका क्या हो रहा है, ये 360 की जगह पे ये 296 से डिवाइड कर रहा है इसको. Getting my
So it
point?
has to come before H2, the dollar.
Yes. So how do you correct this? You will say, okay, मैं H2 पे लेती हूँ. Okay, you want to make it like this, right?
Correct.
Okay, what I will suggest you is that whenever you know that this cell reference, the 360 reference, is not going to move for the subsequent rows. Okay, see, doing this thing, there is no harm. If I press Control D, okay, again, आप देख सकते हैं क्या हो रहा है, और $H3 पे गया, मतलब वो क्या कर रहा है, वो लॉक कर रहा है सिर्फ कॉलम को, पर रो को लॉक नहीं कर रहा हूँ.
Okay.
गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? सो हमेशा एक पॉइंट हमको रेडी रखना है कि whenever we are seeking any information or we are sourcing any formula in such a way that we need to keep this, no matter what happens, this cell is not going to move at all. H2 move ही नहीं होगा अपनी जगह से. So it's always a good habit to lock both the H as well as the number 2. तो हमने
Right.
कॉलम भी और रो को भी लॉक कर दिया. The moment we do this, and now when we press Control D, you will see the actual percentage is getting calculated, which is 78 in this case, और वो H2 को रेफर कर रहा है. That is the right formula. And now if I keep pressing Control D, I'll get the percentages for the rest of the students also. So any confusion in this?
No, sir.
Okay, one good habit of a very good data designer is that when they plant the formula on the top of the row and when they put the formula in all the subsequent rows, they always go back to the last row and then they press F2 and see whether the formula is making sense or not. Okay,
Okay.
it
Okay.
makes sure कि आपका जो भी प्लांटेशन ऑफ फॉर्मूला है, इट इज कंसिस्टेंट अक्रॉस द रोज. जैसा आपने फर्स्ट रो में प्लान किया था, वैसे ही प्लांटिंग मेरा लास्ट रो में भी आ रहा है. तो दैट इंश्योर्स, दैट गिव्स यू अ डबल एश्योरेंस कि हाँ, एवरीथिंग इज वर्किंग फाइन. ओके,
Right.
ऑलराइट. अभी आते हैं हम लोग. नाउ ऑल ऑफ दिस वाज रिलेटेड टू डेटा एंट्री, right? We entered data over here, we entered the quiz labels, and all these labels, we calculated the percentage. We also saw absolute cell reference or relative cell reference में क्या फर्क है. We also saw a small amount of formula called auto sum. Okay, now we would switch the gears into something called as um, formatting. Okay, अब formatting में क्या होगा? Formatting में there is a you need to label these things. Okay, there is always going to be a very easy trick to do this. There are certain styles which are created, okay, within the Excel, but there are certain thumb rules, okay, very good thumb rules, which every developer will make it on its own, with based on its experience, based on its organizations. कई कई जगह पे, I don't know about your organization, but in our organization we have a template. Okay, it's a built-in functionality within Excel where we click on it and it will give us a color palette which is compatible to our organization. So ये जो color palette दिख रहा है ना आपको ये this this is a color palette. ये जो color palette में जो colors के flavors हमको दिख रहे हैं ये सब उसके ऊपर override हो जाता है and uh, they get displayed as per what our organization norms are. जो हमारी organization जिन colors को support करती हैं वही colors हमको उस palette में दिखता है. Okay, did you get my point?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, it's getting stuck. Wait. No, please मत हो यार, कुछ मत करो प्लीज. एक्सेल अगर हैंग हो गया तो बैंड बच जाएगा प्लीज. पूरा मेहनत पानी में चला जाएगा. प्लीज प्लीज डोंट डू इट. आई डोंट नो व्हाई. ओके बच गया. गुड.
Such case, you have to just wait, right?
yeah, just press escape if possible because जो भी हो रहा है उसको escape दबाएंगे तो it just cancel that operation. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go and select these things. So my thumb rule is I always go to this particular label, which is dark blue. Okay. If you're not interested in any of the colors over here, you can always go to more colors and you can select any of the colors which you want from here. Okay. You can, if you know there are some codes, the codes are basically given in RGB format. RGB बोले तो blue, red, green, and blue. So every
Yeah.
color has got a code on that. Okay. So based on that RGB or HSL एक अलग coloring scheme है. So they give unique numbers to all the colors. And when you populate those numbers, you get those combination of those colors, and based on that, you will get to know what color are you working on. So दैट इज अनदर वे. ये यहाँ से नहीं तो आप कोई सिलेक्ट कर सकते हैं या फिर आपको अगर वो बाय डिफॉल्ट जो कलर पैलेट होता है उसमें से अगर आपको मिल जाता है तो दैट्स फाइन. आई ऑलवेज प्रेफर टू यूज दिस एज अ बैकग्राउंड कलर एंड द फॉन्ट आई ऑलवेज मेक इट वाइट. And when I make it white, I always do a bold also to make the user understand that these are special labels. At times, people prefer to make the font size of this labels a bit uh, bigger in size as compared to the rest of data to highlight that this particular row is a label. Okay, the moment I do this 14 and again I press Control Enter, all the all the labels got highlighted with the proper color scheme, and all of them have a font size of 14 right now. You can see all of these are with the blue background with a bold and with a white font. Okay, any confusion
Right.
on this, Supa?
No, sir.
No, right? Okay, now this is another data, I would say, which is basically a label for what is the maximum possible marks which you attempted for. So all these quiz and tests, they have a maximum marks which you can earn. Okay, so these are some special nomenclature or special data label which identifies or helps the user to understand that what is the maximum amount of marks which you can score. So for these kind of things, to make sure that they are reflecting outstandingly, I mean it should catch the eye of the user. So you always, whenever you want to convey a warning signal or something which is of very prime importance, or the very first um, thing which you want the user to be looking at, you can either use a red color or a yellow color. Red color is basically more from a warning or danger perspective. That's why we use the red color. And yellow color is basically for information purpose, for uh, catching or the attention of the user for information purpose, not for danger, but for just for sharing certain information. So we always prefer to use yellow color and we again make it bold. so that they stand a bit different as compared to what we see over here. Now, this is one. Now, these are my names of the students which attempted for this thing. So these are my static data. These are not my calculated or not my formula. These are my static data. So for static data, you can keep a particular color scheme. Okay. I usually make sure that the static data has got a very light color. Okay. It should be readable. People should be able to read it without any strain in the eyes. Okay. So I make it this a bit light color. I again make it bold because these are some special uh, labels given for the student names. And then I go on to this particular section where the numbers are kept. Now, these numbers are not a static data anymore. I mean, these are not dynamic data. These are like static data which we use using rand between. So you can keep them the way they are, but please make sure that something where you're using formulae within the Excel, you can try to highlight it by showing them that in these cells or in these colors, there is a formula which is planted over there. Okay. Usually, I prefer to use a gray color to indicate that there was a formula planted over here, or you can use a color, something, a scheme, something like this. Okay. Say this one. Okay. Which shows a different combination. It also fits with the blue, the dark blue, and this green fits together. You can also do the same stuff over here. You can press F4. Now, this one we have not formatted. Now, I just wanted to show you a small example over here with regards to only percentage formatting. Now, please make a note of this. Uh, if I go to in the home tab, there is this percentage symbol. Okay. For numbers, these are the formats which we can use. You can either click on this percentage symbol to get it converted into a percentage, or you can press Control Shift percentage, which means on your keyboard you can press Control Shift 5. It will give you the percentage. Okay. Or else there is another way in which you can get the percentage. It is by clicking on this drop down box. You can go to this percentage and select the percentage over here. So there are three ways to achieve the percentage, but please note there is a subtle difference in the way these things work. If I go and select this percentage, okay, which I can also do by using Control Shift 5, okay, if I click on this, what happens over here? What do you see as the final value? 82%.
82.
It doesn't show you any decimal factor by default,
Correct.
right? For decimal factor, you have to put some extra clicks on this increase decimal values. Maybe you have to click twice to get these extra two decimals. So in all, I clicked 3 times to get my desired number. Is that correct? Right, Vajanti, are you able to understand?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir, I'm hearing.
Okay. Now, if I click on this drop down box and I go and click on this percentage, what happened? I'm getting it by default with the 2 decimal places. That means if I select all these numbers and I go here and press this percentage symbol, all the values will automatically get a default 2 decimal places as a
Correct.
percentage values. And that saves me those extra clicks,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So so far, this is what is the formatting all about. Okay, it's all about how creative you are, how good you can understand your senior stakeholders, what color patterns, what color combinations they prefer to use. Every organization differ from one fact to another. If if your organization doesn't have any such rules, then you can plan your own rules, that this is how I will go and show all my formulas. So this will really work for you, because every time any sheet created by you, no matter it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, you'll still be able to relate, because these are your principles. You
Correct.
use them as per your color scheme, so it will be easy for you to read your own data. The only formatting trick which I will do over here would be, I will go and select the entire table range, and here there are some borders. You can click on borders, you can go to all borders, and once you do this, or else you can go to control 1. Control 1 is another shortcut key which opens all the options for you in the formatting options for you. Here you can go to the border, you can say the color which I want to give to my borders would be something like a gray color. Okay, light gray. Maybe, okay, so let's go with that light gray. You want to go with this kind of darkness. So you select this darkness, the style, and then you say, okay, I want to give uh, all the borders on the outer cell, as well as anything which is the inner border also. So the moment you do this and you click on OK, you will see all the cells, all the tables are now planted with those gray colored lines. Okay, and they are getting covered with all these things internally as well as externally. All right, any questions so far on this?
No, sir.
Right. Now,
So control one, you said control one, it opens
yeah,
up the format cells.
yeah,
Okay.
that's correct. Control 1 opens the format cell options for you.
Oh,
Okay. Now, when you are done with this, now say you want to print this data and give it to your line manager. All right.
yeah.
So, how would you go with the printing? How do you usually go in the office and start printing this kind of data?
So we go to file and go for uh,
Okay.
print option, then check whether it is fitting into the page.
Okay. That's exactly what I also do. So here you can see, okay, it's fitting in the page, but it's also showing all these things,
So
right?
delete that and
Okay, usko उड़ा दो, खत्म. Okay,
or
that's good.
select that much only and go to print.
Okay, select this much only, ऐसा,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now go to print.
Yeah. File and then select, take a preview and see whether it is exactly the way you want
Okay,
it.
all right. So one small thing advice I would like to give you is that whenever you're going to printing, there is this page layout ribbon which has got a lot of options. Now in this there is an option called page setup, which is basically made only for printing related stuff. But when you
So
click on
that
this,
option you get on print also, right? Page
yes, yes,
setup.
yes, you do get it. You can go to the print also and you can do it, but I'm just showing you where exactly it comes from. When you click
Okay.
on this particular small box now on the corner, okay, this is where the page setup comes. Okay.
Okay.
So once the page setup is there, I will make sure that I need to do it with the landscape.
Landscape.
I'll go and say, okay, I want to fit it to say one page by one on, or maybe I want to adjust it to not 100. Maybe this is something which I will keep on doing, a trial and error kind of a thing. So probably I will try to make it to do it to 125%, say increase by 25% and see how it looks like. So I'll go to this once again. I'll see it's 125. Um, but we can always click on this print preview and see at the same time what's happening. So you can see now it's looking a bit bigger, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just escape this once again. I will go back to my page setup, and here the landscape is selected, adjusted. Okay. I can go to say, let's look at this. Here is where the margins are selected right now. You can see the margins are basically trying to show that the data is on the left upper corner. Okay, by default, it is getting selected on the left upper corner. So I can say make it to the center of the page horizontally as well as vertically. So the moment I do this, you can see the data is now looking in the center of the page. Now, if I click on print preview, you can see it's coming on the center of the page over here, right? So you can adjust it the way you want. And once it's done, uh, once you have done with the margins also, I've selected this as a margins. I'll go to the header and footer. Now I can either give any kind of headers if I want. There are many options given over here which you can do as an header or probably in the footer. Most of the time people prefer to keep it in the footers, not as a headers. So in the footers, you can give it something like page one of something, okay? Or you can say, let's custom footer. Custom footer mein, I have got in the center the page of page. In the left section, maybe I want my name. Okay, so I can go here, I can select either the page number or these options which are available from here. Okay, so probably let's say your name. Oh, wait. Okay, on the right side, probably I'll be interested in inserting, say, the file name. Okay, so say not name, maybe the file name is over here. So the center section, maybe a date will be good. So I put a date over here and then I click on OK. And then I say, okay, let's look at the print preview. The print preview will now show the date, the page one of one, and the name of the file using which you printed this particular data, right? Isn't it looking good? More
Very neat.
very neat and tidy, right? So here you
Yes.
can just press escape and then you can go and uh, press print, or you can also explore these options like sheet. Okay, in the sheet it is basically saying that okay, what is the print area which you want to print. So I can go and select this print area, that this is my print area which I would be interested in printing. Okay, sometimes maybe in the advanced level you will come to know that if this sheet has got say thousand of rows, okay, and you want to keep these headers constant in your prints, okay, then you can say rows to repeat at the top. You can select these top two rows and you can say that rows to repeat in every print. So every print will have the first two rows reserved for these two labels, and then it will follow the whatever data which has come down. Okay, so these are some ways in which you can do this printing. And then again, you can go to the print preview. You can select again, nothing more has changed. Is basically I just selected my print area. You can also select or set that particular area. So if tomorrow, if you send this file to anyone else and they try to print it, the area is already set for them. So they just need to press Control P and they will not be wasting their time in doing all these print format related adjustments. They'll get this sheet ready for them to use and they can just print and they can just carry on from there.
Sir,
Okay.
if you have, suppose the data is going to them today and the date which gets registered is of today and they want to take a print tomorrow, so will the date change automatically on that?
So it will actually print the date on which the print was given, not the
Okay.
date on which the data was created. And it will never know what date the data was created. It will just print the date on which it was printed.
So if tomorrow if I print, the date will be different.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And if there are two, three pages, page one of page 2 of
Yes,
page
yes,
2, it will come automatically.
it will come automatically. You can see over here page one of one, page one of two, page one of three. All these pages will repeat itself.
Right.
Okay. Any questions on this print area?
No, sir.
That's it. I think that is all. I would say, and I think this is what I wanted to make you understand about these small nuances, which people just oversee them. But if you look into details like this behavior of a single mouse, okay, how the mouse behaves when it's inside an active cell, it's in the borders, it's in the corners, you'll come to know what kind of events Excel is trying to track with the active cell, and that's how you learn the behavior of Excel. It's all about how we are interacting with Excel and what kind of response Excel is giving it back to us. Why did it behave in this fashion? Because we gave such an action as an input, and that is what is the response which we got from them.
Right.
Okay.
And sir, in the basic, will you be explaining what are these individual tabs are and what all functions they have? The that part also, I don't think so we have covered.
uh, I will not be able to cover all these formulas over here. I'm trying to cover, I mean, if you remember, we covered certain things like if
When
error.
we were doing it, yeah, advance.
Yeah, then even this text we covered something like left, right, mid,
Yeah. No,
search,
means
find.
what I'm saying is, what are the common functions of the tabs that are there and we don't use most of the time?
uh, See, right now in the advanced mode we always prefer to use this data tab. Okay, because here we will be covering what if analysis of these things. Okay, and this is where the advanced cell comes into picture. There is going to be a tab which we will cover, which will actually help you to protect your sheets and protect your workbooks. This tab is basically used only for your spelling checks or checking your any kind of small reviews which you want to give it to anyone. Say you reviewed this data and you want to say, you want to give a comment that this is not 55, this should be corrected to 60. So you can just select the cell and you can make it 60. Okay, you can give